And we're live.
Hello.
It's Thursday. What's going on, everybody? Uh, we're gonna talk. We have a new feature tonight. The whole music thing that we talked about,
Oh,
and we have
is that a feature or like
hmm,
you don't call it a bit? What do you
it's not
call it?
really a bit. I don't know. I
See
guess
how it goes.
yeah. I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. And we're back. Yeah. So
Another year.
what do you call it if it's not a bit? Because that's a comedian thing. We're not comedians. I mean,
We're
I think I am sometimes, but that's kind of beside the point.
definitely not comedians.
No.
Somebody said they like my shirt. I think it's available in our store, isn't it?
It
Is it
might. I
still
don't know that
available?
that one's available in our store anymore.
I think it might be available in my store.
Oh yeah,
I don't
maybe.
remember. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. Anyway,
She has an Etsy shop.
this is the response to excuses.
That's right.
I don't feel like doing it.
And
And
exactly.
so there's the history behind it.
Yeah. So this week is kind of cool. We're gonna go through a bunch of questions that we got from Patreon and YouTube members, and those of you that are blowing up the comments already, and super chats, and we have sound effects. Somebody said last week that they found the sound effects very annoying.
Oh.
But I don't care because he was like, I'm not saying I don't care. I'm just saying in this situation, majority rules. Because 98.746%, and I might be stretching that statistic a little, really liked the noises on the super chats.
I think they're fun.
I think they're fun too.
I feel like based on every time we mention it and the number of super chats that come in, people find it fun.
I agree. So
could it be annoying? Sure. But
the more annoying it is, the more fun it is, to tell you the truth, because that's part of the thing here.
Yeah. We are spending time here with you.
Yes, exactly. So that's why we're here. We're going to answer some questions. One of the new features that we discussed offline amongst ourselves is that we have been listening to some more music lately. And I am going to challenge you as the audience later on that it's going to involve you. But we both listened to the same record this week. Very recently, because you listened to it before I did. And so we're going to talk about that record and things that we notice about it. And the reason I want to do this is fun. It kind of goes back to last week when we were talking about making music fun again, right? Like making playing fun again. I cannot help listen to music I can't help listening to it without like a super technical brain, like, oh, that snare, blah, 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 that, whatever. And you just listen to music because you just like music. And explaining them what you think you like in non-technical terms is cool, because it just gets us back to like, you do realize that people are listening to music for fun, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not all about who's the best guitarist and what effects they're using. Like, they're listening to music for fun. So since I have this tendency to be super technical, you have this tendency to just listen to stuff and then be like, well, I like it because it does this, and explain it in some crazy terms. This could be kind of fun. So we're going to try to do it once a week with a record.
So are you saying because my terms aren't technical, that makes them crazy?
No, it makes it fun.
That's what you just said.
No, it's not crazy at all. I think what it does is it like brings me back down to like earth, like, or back to like reality of like, oh yeah, this is just fun. There's wait, back to life, back to reality. That's who is that?
I don't know.
I should know who that is. I can see the video in my head and everything.
Because we're that old.
We were also talking about the
Music
fact,
videos.
we were also talking this week about how that affected music, and it doesn't really affect music as much anymore. Like, what were we listening to? Robert Plant. Or not,
Palmer.
Robert Palmer. Robert Palmer. And we were listening to that Addicted to Love song or whatever it's called. Addiction, whatever it is. Anyways, and you just immediately remember the music video. Like,
Yes.
and that's what you associate with that music. Like, there was a time period when that really mattered. And now you associate it with TikTok.
So we're going to take this moment of time to say hello to Owen. Hi, Owen.
Oh, is he on?
I feel like we've missed you the past couple of times, but we do appreciate you being here. I understand that we get to help you stay up a little past bedtime. I hope school is going good.
I had a super cool idea
Thanks
for Owen.
watching.
I have a super cool idea for Owen that I want to talk to Mike about. And I'm stealing.
You don't get to say it because he's listening if you need to talk to his dad first.
I know he'll say yes, though, so I'm not worried about it.
That's not really parental permission at that point.
Aren't you supposed to just ask for forgiveness instead?
I don't know. Are you his uncle? If you were his uncle, you could do that.
I want him to do some ad reads for me.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Yeah. Like, have his dad shoot video. Like, he can dress up in whatever rock and roll costume he wants. And then I'll have, because his dad obviously can shoot video, and I'll have him do our ad reads. At least a couple of them.
That sounds so fun.
That way he can, like, live on. That way, he doesn't have his own YouTube channel yet, but wouldn't it be cool?
I love that idea.
That way he can be part of what we're doing. And
that way his dad can control how much he actually wants him in the video too.
Yes, because if he wants him disguised or because he's a kid. So, whatever. Like that's kind of what I was thinking is he can have control over that, put a costume on him, put a bat suit on him or whatever. And have him play his guitar and do some ad reads for us. I think that would be super fun.
That would be fun.
I'm stealing the idea actually from the Tone Mob podcast because Blake has his son do some of his ad reads, and I was like, Owen, we need to have Owen do that.
We don't have a cute little kid anymore. Like, they're grown, so
our kids are all grown up.
We don't have a puppy, and we don't have little cute kids, so
we're never gonna be famous on YouTube.
I know,
because we don't have a dog, and we don't have children, and I don't have big boobs. It's just kind of the way it is. Okay, let's get into some Patreon questions.
Let's first talk about your shirt. So Dylan is wearing a Silvertone guitar shirt.
I am.
That we got at NAMM.
Yes. And I'm distracted because I'm trying to find my own stream on YouTube. And
if you can't find it, does that mean other people can't find it?
No, it's just I'm not
And the people in the comments that are like, annoying is fun.
You're our people. Thank you so much.
I try to be annoying. It doesn't ever work, but
I don't know why my live stream's not showing. It should be like showing up at the top of whatever so I can watch it. Anyway, whatever.
Oh, I forgot I have this cool new feature and I should be marking comments instead of screenshots.
Oh, yeah.
Mike said he's down for that. He wants to start a podcast. I love that. Can I be on Owen's podcast? We can talk about random
Owen
things.
wants to start a podcast? Oh my God. I would totally be on a podcast with Owen.
That's so
That'd be so cool. Okay. Let's do some questions. I guess I need to steal that from you for just a second. We're going to throw our first question up there and you can take it back while we talk about this question. How about that?
Okay.
Brett, this is a YouTube member, so we also answer YouTube member questions. The little join button down there, and put them up on the screen like this. I floated my Strat trem after watching your video, and things seemed okay after doing a setup. I did notice that when I would play open chords, the intonation was horrible. After decking the bridge, it's fine now. Any thoughts on where I went wrong? Okay, so on a pivot tremolo like a Strat, anytime it pivots up, which is what you're doing when you float it, the scale shortens. So you have to check your intonation after you float your tremolo. Because it will shorten. And if you use a tremolo on your guitar, your intonation does change as you move it because you're changing the length of the scale. So just know that you have to do that afterwards. Even then, it can float around some, especially if you're like really ham-fisted when you play, or if your action is really high. So if your action is really high on a floating trem, when you pull down on the strings, it pulls all of the strings, right? Because it's a tension deal. So just make sure that you play with as low action as possible, reasonably, and make sure that you don't like, you squeeze it super hard, it's gonna go out of tune. So that's also part of it. But probably the biggest thing is just check your intonation after the thing is done, after you've floated it. That's a really good question. Thank you. Mr. Goat, what kind of animal would an 8-ball and a smoothie make? Do you have a personal favorite humbucker combo? Hope you guys are doing well. Okay. The smoothie humbucker, he's talking about the Dylan Talks Tone smoothie humbucker, and that is a little bit hotter than a DAF, not much. And it doesn't have quite as much top end on purpose. That's why we call it the smoothie. It's still pretty moderate though. It's not like flat like a some crazy DiMarzio or something. You could put it with an 8-ball, but those would be at the opposite ends of the spectrum because the 8-ball is pretty hot and it's kind of my super distortion, if that makes sense. My favorite combination of pickups is either a pair of DAFs, as far as humbuckers. I just like a pair of DAFs, like super basic. And I also really like an 8-ball in the bridge and a center punch in the neck. That's probably the best of. If you're a guy who's used a Seymour Duncan 59 or a JB and a Jazz together, the center punch and the 8-ball would be the logical replacement for that, and you would just gain a whole lot from that. Another awesome question.
I'll be back.
You're gonna go shut off the...
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't shut off the air. So you'll hear the clicking of the air conditioner and the loud air conditioner, and then the turning off of the air.
I can talk to you from here still. How about that?
You can. You can talk to everybody.
Ooh.
Robert wants to know a non-guitar related question from Patreon. How much effort is involved in preparing your RV for use in the winter, or is it just too much work to prep for cold weather to make it worthwhile? The easy answer:
drive south.
Is drive south. Yeah. If we have to use our furnace, it's too cold and we're out of there anyway.
And really the answer is you don't have to winter prep if you're using it either.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we're not storing it. It's more about storage prep when you hear the term like winterizing.
Yeah. If you let it sit, you got to put like antifreeze in all the pipes and stuff.
The same pipes you drink water out of.
Yeah. We don't, if it gets below like 45 at night, we're out of there, man. I mean, we have had some snap cold stuff that we've had to deal with.
For sure.
But, it happens because it catches you out, or there'll be a cold snap and you're not moving right then. But 90% of the time, we really try to.
Go ahead.
We really try to just.
It's a great question, though. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Go ahead. Vincent wants to know, how do you clean pole pieces that are showing slight signs of corrosion or rust? Should I just leave them as is? Actually, I was just talking to Michael Bateman about this today. Yes, I think you should just leave it. Everybody asks me that. You could try like a green Scotch-Brite. Don't use steel wool because the magnets will attract little fragments and you'll end up ruining a pickup over time. So don't do that, but maybe a green Scotch-Brite or something, but I wouldn't honestly mess with it that much. Here's the thing. You said slightly corroded. That's probably okay, but once it starts to actually rust, and get, because it will, like they'll get kind of rusty, right? There's a couple things that could happen. That 1018 or 1022 steel that is used for pole pieces is super cheap and soft, actually. It's terrible steel. And so as it gets rusty, you could snap them off when you're trying to adjust them or turn them. So don't try to, like, if they're rusty, don't try to take them out because you'll snap a head off and then your pickup is ruined because
Wait, what's a pole piece?
like the pole piece in a humbucker, like the screws that stick out the top.
And you would turn that?
Yeah, they're adjustable
Oh,
on the one side, on the exposed side.
okay.
Stratocaster pickups, are just the magnet, and you could probably just clean those up, but I wouldn't really mess with it that much, man. Like, I don't know. That's just not I don't. I say let it get old looking. Ben. Ben says, in your opinion, are those flat patch cables, the ones with the flat ribbon cable, any good? Or should I just stick with regular patch cables? Side note, can't wait to get my Runway audio cables. Flat patch cables, I think, are kind of a gimmick for the purpose of quote-unquote space saving. The problem is that they're flat, but then they're wide. And they don't make turns like they're supposed to because they're flat. So I don't find a practical purpose for them. I mean, I don't know. I just don't find a practical purpose for them. If you bought cables from Runway Audio,
Their connectors are really flat.
their connectors are really flat. And the same quality of audio cable for their guitar cables is in a miniature version of their patch cables. So you'll get the benefit of the compactness of like a flat one without worrying about which way it's got to bend and stuff. So it'll always work. And they're just as good as the guitar cables. Excuse me. So yeah, it's a win-win deal. For anybody who wants to know, if you want to buy patch cables from Runway Audio, there is a link in the description of this video, and you can use Dylan Talks Tone in the checkout and get 10% off. They have worked out that deal with me and anybody that listens to my stuff and buys with that link. So that is pretty cool. We have exhausted all of our questions from Patreon.
Okay. Well, Ben said thanks that he got 2 instrument cables and a speaker cable, and he'll go with them for patch cables too.
Yeah, I would.
Yep. And then Vinny said, thanks, I'll leave them as is. I was more worried that over time the rust might affect the coil.
It will, but over a lot of time. Like, you hear about Fender Strats from like the 50s and 60s having pickups that die because they rust. But that's because old wire technology. Plain enamel wire is terrible with that because the insulation gets brittle as it gets old and it cracks. And so when moisture goes down in there from sweat and stuff, rust happens. Rust will easily break through that plain enamel coating on that wire, or it will, because it's so brittle, it will end up corroding through and it'll kill a pickup. With poly wire, which is like poly nylon, which is what we use on everything, it still sounds the same, but it is much more durable to that. And plus the way we make our pickups, it pretty much will never happen. So
Ivan says his Runway cable has shipped too.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Anyway, it is, you develop relationships with people, and and you want him to be successful. So we do appreciate y'all supporting him.
I just talked
He's
to him
really
today.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, I just talked to him today, and he was like, dude, he was like, thank you so much, because apparently you have been ordering a lot of cables from it. And so, I mean, yeah. So he was like, that video is so cool and I really appreciate it. And he was like, thank you so much for that. I was like, no, man, this is fun. Like, I want to do more of that stuff. Actually, I need to call. I might do it tomorrow. I need to call McPherson.
Yeah, and set that up.
And set that up and make an appointment for that. Because I'm hoping to go do the same kind of tour thing at McPherson Guitars when we're in Wisconsin.
Mike said his new Tesla's coming tomorrow, but not his new guitar. Ha ha. Hint, hint, Dylan. I can see it. It's still
right
beautiful, Mike. Yep. Maybe I'm just admiring it.
It's right there. I just don't have a box. I don't have a box or a case. And I tried to procure a case for it this week, and it just didn't happen. They didn't have what I wanted.
Not good enough.
No, it wasn't good enough.
All right. You want to take a few questions before they get out of hand, because I feel like we have a lot of questions.
Do it.
I don't know why they come up in weird orders. Dino Smith says, Dylan, can you update us on the Texas Toast class? I was wanting to do it.
Yes. So the Texas Toast class is going to be the whole month of May. There's going to be 3 pickup winding courses. And the way it's going to work is, I hope you build a guitar class with Texas Toast. I hope that you do that, because the way it's going to work is you're going to, I hope, be enrolled in the pickup winding class on the weekend prior, and you'll actually literally learn to and wind your own pickups for your own guitar. And then you'll go to the guitar building class the following week, coinciding with it. You'll build the guitar and then put your own pickups that you made in your own guitar that you built. So I hope that happens. The first class is actually sold out, I think. Mm-hmm. But the second 2 are not. There is some room left in both of those classes. And honestly, if an extra person or 2 signed up, we would probably try to make room for them. But what I did hear is that the sooner you sign up, the better, because of some things that are happening at Texas Toast. So just know that, like, if you want to do it, sign up for it. Because I really think, Matt and I were talking about it, he's like, they're all going to sell out.
Yeah.
And
it's just a deposit down right now.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's 150 down or something.
Yeah.
It's $500 for the class. And that includes everything, though. That includes, like, you won't have to buy any parts. You won't have to buy any pickups. And you get to wind 2 of anything. So if you wanted 2 humbuckers, or 2 P90s, or, if you bought a Strat, if you did a Strat, I guess we would have to wind you 3, but that's easy. So
yeah, it's going to be fun, though.
Yeah, super fun.
And since it's on the weekend, I'll be there.
She will.
I don't know if that helps. Why wouldn't you want to meet me? I don't know. All right.
I did okay.
Not quite the same thing, but all right. Mike Ivy. Hello.
What's up, Mike Ivy?
Is there a way to coil split a bridge humbucker only using a 3-way blade switch? I don't really want to use a push-pull pot.
A 3-way blade switch. Yeah, I guess you could take one of wherever. I guess what you'd have to do is hook up the pickup.
Next sentence has to rhyme too.
It would probably be easier to do parallel. I think you could do one coil, both coils, and then the other coil on a three-way. That would be really cool, actually. You might could do that. To coil split it, you would have to have both coils in series hooked up at one point, and then take one of the legs and short the black and green, at least on our pickups, which I know you're using our pickups, so the black and green, that would have to be shorted in one of the positions, but not the other two. I would have to think about that. That is, man.
Now you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that.
All right.
Mike, I will look into that some more. I might try to draw that up and see if I can figure it out for you. Mike's awesome. So I'll tell you a story about Mike Ivy. So you all are wondering probably about this Texas Toast thing.
And if you are, we probably should talk about it more because we can't assume everybody is on Texas Toast.
Okay, that's true. Because a lot of people do come over here from Texas Toast, but not everybody.
Correct.
So I'm going to tell you a story about Texas Toast guitars. So I didn't know who they were. I'd seen them on YouTube a couple times, but I didn't really know.
Good night, Owen.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of guitar YouTube. Mostly the reason is because I don't want it to affect what I do. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of YouTube channels will all do kind of the same content at the same time, or a new guitar will come out and they'll all be talking about it at the same time. That's a lot to do with it, like embargo dates and stuff. But I try to stay out of it, and I try to just like be original to my own projects and my own thing, and like in the questions that you have, like I really try to like be original to my own stuff. So I don't watch a lot of YouTube about guitar stuff. It's usually racing and car stuff and photography. All that to say, I didn't really know who Chris and Matt were. But I have this really good customer who, if we go all the way back, we built a house in 2013.
Taking it back.
And we had an earthquake like 3 or 4 months in South Carolina. We had a 4-point-something earthquake.
Mm-hmm. After an ice storm.
After an ice storm. It was a bad week. We had a tree fall down in the backyard. It broke the fence. And then 2 days later, we had an earthquake. I was super scared because I had a huge fish tank. It didn't crack it. But it cracked one of the windows in our house. And I'll say it now because we don't own the house anymore. I didn't think it was really a warranty thing, but I called the punch list people because we had just bought our house. And I was like, my window's broken. Can you come fix it? Well, this dude named Mike Ivy came and fixed my window. He's a window guy. And we got to talking in the entryway, and he's like, I play guitar. What do you do? And blah,
Let's
blah, blah.
pause the story here. The reason it got on guitars is because at the time, when you walked in our house, it looked like a mini guitar showroom. There was just guitars on the wall for you to enter the house.
Yes, we had, like, as soon as you walked in the door, there was probably 10 or 12 guitars at all times.
Uh-huh.
If you go to some of our older videos from a few years ago, you'll see it. Anyway, Mike fixed my window in my house. And he subsequently, over the next 2 to 3 years, bought a lot of pickups from me because he builds his own guitars at home. And, and one day I meet him at Walmart because he's local to where we're from. Mm-hmm. One day I meet him at Walmart to give him a set of pickups because he bought a set of pickups for me. And he says, have you seen this thing that Texas Toast Guitars is doing with these classes? And I was like, I haven't seen that. So I started watching all their videos, and that's the reason we started the Patreon thing. By the way, there's a Patreon live hangout this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And because it's 5-weekend month, there's a bonus one the next week. That was all Mike's idea. Like, Mike was like, you should do that too.
Inspired it, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you should do that. What they're doing, you should do that. And so that's why we started the Patreon stuff. So Mike has been
got new friends out of the deal.
Yep. And then we met all the people at Texas Toast, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So then we go out there. I do a pickup class in person that one time and last year, and it was awesome. And then Matt at Texas Toast called me and said, let's do another one, but let's do it cooler this time. And so I'm hoping that 10 or 15 people are going to sign up for these classes, and it's going to be really fun and in person.
So there are 3 classes available in May on Texas Toast website.
Yes, we're not selling them on our website. He's selling them on theirs. But him and I are communicating to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. And yeah, because you have to like tell me what pickups you're using so that I have all the supplies on hand and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be super awesome. Anyway, Mike Ivy commented. I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Tell a long story.
It's so cool though.
It is cool.
It's so cool. It goes back years.
We've met a lot of people and made a lot of connections just from the connections we've met.
Here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Granted, that one was in person, and it was one of those. We didn't do business out of our house because business is online, but of course he knew where we were at, so he would come by, and it was almost just like a different facet of business even, and then building relationships and
Yep. He was really bummed out when we sold our house and bought our motorhome. He's like, it's going to be harder for me to get pickups from you because he likes to pay cash and he likes to stop by and chat, and like we can't do that anymore. So yeah,
but luckily he's where we visit often, so it can still happen.
What else we got in there?
All right. New Gun Guy says,
what's up, New Gun Guy?
Is there a noiseless single coil pickup that you like?
No.
That was easy.
Yeah, no.
All right. Dustin Denisio.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize if I say that wrong. Dylan, I have a newish Sheraton. I'm wanting to replace the pickups, wanting more clarity from the stock Pro Buckers. I play a lot of alt/indie rock. Would DAFs be a good solution?
Absolutely. And you know what? Maybe I can.
Sorry, I hit it already. Do you need it?
No.
Oh.
I was actually going to get on the internets really quick and show people what I'm thinking about buying. Because you said Sheraton. And I think I have to get some guitars shipped. I have to get Mike's guitar shipped to him. I have to get a Strat shipped out to Tom Tourville, who is probably also watching this, and he's also on Patreon. Because I don't have room for any more guitars right now, but I am really thinking.
It says out of stock.
It does say out of stock. So I'm really thinking about buying. I don't know how to do it. Hang on.
You did it before. There we go.
Yeah. I'm really thinking about buying an Epiphone 335 because these new inspired by Gibson guitars are so good. And if I get one of these, I'm going to put a set of DAFs in it. And I would suggest that you do the same because it would be exactly what you're talking about. It's the exact kind of sound that I think I would want. Dude, that is the one for sure. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because that's a road I think I'm going to go down very soon. But it's going to be that blue one.
Yes, I like it. And then, so Charles said he didn't realize the live class was this week. He has a family event that day, and it will be tight, and he may be late, but he'll make it happen.
Awesome.
So yeah, this August is a 4th and 5th Sunday, which is why the 4th Sunday is so early because the 1st was on a Sunday. So it is falling a little earlier in the month, but there are also 2. So
yeah, if you've never signed up for that
haven't joined Patreon, you can get your money's worth in 1 month. Okay. You want to finish?
Yeah, let's do them.
I just feel like we've had a lot of questions tonight.
Oh, this is great.
Which is awesome. Benjamin's Guitars says, do you think certain guitar pickups sound better with certain amps? How would you wire one differently for a Fender versus a Marshall, if so?
Okay. So let's save that one.
Okay.
For when we talk about what our thumbnail is, which is what is the best guitar rig.
Okay. Oh, we have 2 more topics to talk
Yeah,
about.
so let's talk about that, and then
Okay.
we'll talk about that. That's kind of right in my wheelhouse of what my brain was thinking when I came up with that. Yeah.
So you just want to wait on some of these pickup questions in, and we'll talk about specific pickup sounding
Yeah.
stuff? All
Yeah,
right. All
maybe.
right.
Maybe
Let's
we'll
do that.
do that.
All right.
Oh, and yeah, hit the like button, everybody.
Yeah, we can see them come up on the screen. It's really fun. Can you close that? The light background is really
Goofing
bothering
with
me.
your eyes.
It's probably better for like face lighting, but there we go.
There we go. Cool.
Oh, does this have to live here?
I don't think so.
If I close it, is it going to mess something up?
I don't think so.
Maybe I'll just move it just in case.
There you go.
I don't know.
I bet it goes away when you tap back on the screen. Yep. We're
Okay.
learning new software still, so anyway. So let's chat real quick. The record that we listened to this week, and let's also talk to them about what our possible idea for next week is, because we need them for this.
Okay.
So, I was saying last week that in order to have more fun listening to music, I'm trying to listen to one old record and one new record every week. And we decided that we're going to listen, one of those, we're going to listen to the same one, like we talked about. It ended up being the Metallica Black Album. And
I can tell you why, too.
Why did it end up being the Metallica Black Album?
Because there's supposed to be a new podcast coming out.
I saw that teased.
I'm very much anticipating, and they keep dragging it out. So when they posted another teaser, there were some music clips in it, and I was like, oh, I really like that album. I should listen to it. And then I think I just told you something about it, and you were like, oh, I should listen to it too. And then we went on a drive and did some Apple Spatial audio music, and
which I also want to talk about in a minute too.
Grew into this whole big idea.
So what did you like? What stood out to you listening to the Black Album after not hearing it for quite a while?
What stood out to me?
Mm-hmm.
I also want to pull it up so I can remember
songs.
The song names. What stood out to me? So that is one of those things. I feel like we've talked about it in labs before, but that is one of those albums that was from a period of time where no matter what, when I hear that again, like, I just love it all over again.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was in the era of like, oh, it's in a different color? You can't display it. I don't know how. Have you been able to do that before?
Yeah, you had to put it on their face.
My bad.
If you're into blues, check out J.W. Jones and Beth Hart. Please take note of that right now, because you're getting ahead of us.
I have to make note of it?
Or I can do it.
Okay.
Anyway, keep talking about the album, and I'm going to do this right now.
So it is just one of those albums for me that was from a favorite time, and you listened to the entire album, right? Like, you put it in and you listen to it from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
And I love every song on it.
Do you really?
Yes.
Like every song?
I love the whole album, yes.
So, why?
What do you mean, why?
Yeah, why? I mean, is it the memory thing, or is there something about it that you care about?
I like so for instance, and this is how we got into the spatial audio conversation, I really like so I always listen to my music probably too loud.
Thanks, Ivan.
And so of course this was back in the day when I'm literally driving all the time. Like, I was in school, I worked, I had a boyfriend on the other side of town, like, always in the car. I love to drive. So you're listening to music too loud, right? And I love when it changes speakers. So now you equate that to headphones, and I like when music moves. So I like a lot of Nine Inch Nails. This album has a lot of it on there. And it's not even like the songs that were radio popular because I like this album. So, for instance, if you're familiar with this album, Through the Never is probably my favorite song on this album because of the movement and intensity of the music.
So that's funny you say that, because that is one of the reasons, one of the things that really stuck out at me this time listening to this record. One is how separated the guitars are. Like literally James's guitars and Kirk's guitars are like in two different ears at times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like super separated when you listen to it in headphones. And also, Jason Newsted's bass playing is very different. He almost slaps a lot. And even though it's been 30 years almost since he left, it's just weird because the bass playing on their record is not the same anymore. It is different. And those are the two big things that stuck out at me. I want to talk about this spatial audio thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same super chat? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about this spatial audio thing. If you have not gone on iTunes lately, they're doing this spatial audio deal. You have to listen to it with headphones. We tried to listen to it in the Jeep, and what they're doing is almost like taking and putting a delay on certain channels, almost like a kind of tiny millisecond delay to give the illusion of space. But what I found, I thought was very interesting about it is they're trying to basically make it sound like the vocals, like if you're in the Jeep, it makes it sound like the person is like sitting on
And
your...
this is not ideal listening. They tell you
No,
listen on
they
headphones.
want you to listen to headphones.
Yeah.
And I did listen to some in headphones today. And they're trying to separate everything so that it sounds like the person is sitting like right in front of you in the room with you.
Mm-hmm.
And on older recordings that aren't done the same, you know, obviously we're just like normal multi-track 2-inch tape, old school stuff. You could really tell a difference. And it's really kind of weird at first to get used to. But then there's some records that are produced so well with that goal of all that separation and that super present vocals in mind. What I'm thinking of specifically is Tom Petty Wildflowers.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably my favorite Tom Petty record. I know it's not like the biggest famous one, but I really like that Tom Petty record, Wildflowers. Rick Rubin produced it, and it's already that way. So the spatial audio thing sort of ruined it for me, which is
Yeah.
sort of weird.
We did listen to those back to back,
Yeah, we
just
listened
to see the difference.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to interrupt us.
Okay. Awesome.
So, Mr. Goat, thank you for the super chat.
Yeah.
It says, I was a freshman in high school when so many iconic albums hit. Takes me back. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being intentional and unique. Hashtag 1992. Love
1992. I was in high school too, I think. Yep.
Anyway, that's...
Yeah.
I know, I'm learning.
Yeah, so cool. Thanks, Mr. Goat. I appreciate the super chat. So what we want to do is we want to get input from you on record to listen to for next week. When I say that,
We have the liberty to say no.
we can
Just
say
saying
no.
that.
If you give me Led Zeppelin or Allman Brothers, like, use your imagination. The Beth Hart and J.W. Jones were what I'm talking about. I will not listen to normal antique rock over and over and over again.
Do you have a favorite album?
Yeah. I can tell you exactly what it is. It's DJ Shadow introducing.
Oh, yeah. I did know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking because obviously that would be fun to talk about too. Because part of our conversation when we talked about this music too is I want to equate a favorite with like, you have to like all of their music. And I don't know that I like any one person like all of their music. But this wasn't, we already told you the story why we listened to it, or why I listened to it. But it made me remember that this is one of my favorite albums. But I can't even tell you all of the Metallica's albums. And I know I don't know all their songs.
Well, it's because you're younger.
Well, I am younger, but yeah, I mean, I was too young for this album technically, but I didn't grow up normally. Just gonna say that. But this is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. I don't think I'm
not like a super fan of anything or anyone.
Me either. And I don't get super wrapped up in
maybe Justin Timberlake. Just kidding. Justin Timberlake might be up there for me.
See, and I always thought for you, I thought it would be Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters too.
But it is.
They're up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where you could almost say you're a super fan. I
don't care if you don't like Dave Grohl. I love Dave Grohl, and I love his smile, and I love Taylor's smile. And I really like Eddie Vedder.
See, this is what I'm talking about. And it has nothing to do with their gear. Well, not that gear. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. I should have had a drink tonight.
I know. We're just drinking water, actually, tonight. So, anyway. Yeah. What else are we supposed to talk about?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. We're supposed to talk about the best rigs of all time. Like, favorite rigs. So, please get in the comments right now. Oh, first of all, pick us a record to listen to next week.
Yes.
Put that in the comments.
What's your favorite? Let's start there.
Yes. We have some regular viewers.
Start with your
Do me a favor.
And why it's your... No, don't tell me why it's your favorite.
Put it in the comments. Don't put it in the feed.
They can't do that right now, though.
They can't?
No. You don't get to choose where you put your comment.
I thought you could comment, like down below also.
I don't think so.
Well, if you can do that. If not, put it in the feed. I'll come back and get it. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm just saying that I think that this would be really fun. So your favorite, what is your favorite? We'll go through there. We'll pick one. We'll listen to it next week. That's probably what we should do. We'll listen to it next week, and we'll start working our way through them.
We should just keep a running list, yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I want to do this. I just want to get back to music. Like not... And I know the gear is important, but music.
Thanks for the super chat, Doc.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Leslie and Dylan. I've been listening to Rival Sons and Rammstein lately, especially Pressure and Time and Live aus Berlin, respectively. You're speaking to him right now.
Dude, let me tell you what.
Yep.
I'm not as big of a Rival Sons fan because I'm not a Man Bun fan, but...
I could be.
Have you seen Scott from Rival Sons?
Apparently not.
You might be more of a fan than of Dave Grohl. I'm just saying.
Dave Grohl's not hot. He just has a great smile.
I know. I'm just saying. Scott from Rival Sons, but Scott has also the weird mustache with the...
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I'm
so
out.
you might be out.
No facial hair.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just not for me.
Anyway. Dude, I'm a Rammstein.
Like we're learning way more than we are about music right now.
I'm a Rammstein.
Where's your list?
Guy.
We need to be adding to your list. Are you going to go back and catch all these?
We should. Here, let's just do it. Go ahead. This is so fun.
Who's Johnny Winter? Is that the same JW you had, or
No. Johnny Winter is
Johnny Winter.
Edgar Winter's brother. Who said that?
PJ Harvey, Dry.
Ooh, PJ Harvey rules. These are so good.
Paul Pena?
Pena?
Maybe. There's no Inye, so I didn't say it right.
Probably can't type it.
Beastie Boys.
Oh, yeah.
No specific album listed, though. We Don't Need to Whisper by Angels and Airwaves is an all-time personal favorite.
Really? Who said that?
That's Ben Berzak.
Really? Angels and Airwaves. Wow.
Very atmospheric.
Which record?
We Don't Need to Whisper.
I am going to listen to this tomorrow. because he's wacky. Aliens and whatnot.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Poison, native tongue.
Ooh, dude.
Because it sounds nothing like poison is what Vinny's World says.
All right.
Jane's Addiction.
Oh.
Triple X.
Yeah. What else we got?
Perfect Circle.
Oh my gosh.
Mare de Noms.
So, I'll tell you what else this is telling me.
You got some variety in here you didn't know about?
Yes. I don't have to worry about vintage rock.
Newest band made. Chick guitarist Konami runs Mesa Boogie and Paul Reed Smith, and then backed up by rhythm guitar Marshall and Zamatis. So Bandmade, I think is.
Oh yeah, okay, I have heard of that. I was just joking the other day about
Alabama Roll On.
Oh, who said Alabama?
Charles Wallace. We
okay.
Oh, hang on. For the super chat,
Yeah.
Doc. Death Watch, Beetle Repairman, Dream of the Hollow Fishes.
Oh my
actually
gosh.
on that one. So he's just going through albums apparently.
These are so good. So I made this post the other day about I got in a conversation on Facebook the other day because people were, I can't believe that Linkin Park is on the classic rock station. And I'm like, technically.
Oh my gosh, we're old.
Technically, classic is 20 years.
Yeah.
Linkin Park has been around for 20 years.
Whew. I like them
so
too.
That makes Led Zeppelin antique rock because it's over 50 years. They've been doing stuff for over 50 years. So, yeah, I mean...
Jeffrey McRickard said Angels and Airwaves is his favorite band too.
I knew that.
Mother Station.
Him. Oh, wow. Yeah. Dude, this is really good
Within
stuff.
Temptation.
Yup.
Porcupine Tree, Deadwing.
All right, I'm going to have to go back and get the rest of these. Otherwise, we're going to be...
Well, that's a heck of a list to start with.
Yeah, that's a heck of a list to start with. We'll start with that.
So
here's what I want to know. Since we've been talking about all these bands, and it's fun to understand each other, all the viewers, all of us in the community, what we're into. And I'm super encouraged by the fact that it is not a bunch of mullet rock. Like, I'm really, really encouraged by that. And all these wacky and some...
I don't know what that is. Alan Parsons, The Tale of Edgar Allan Poe. I just love that book.
You know who Alan Parsons is?
No, but I know who Edgar Allan Poe is.
Okay, so you know his guitar player, though. It's Jeff.
Jeff.
At the place. At NAMM, but not NAMM. The blonde guy.
What?
That is Alan Parsons' Project guitar player.
Oh.
He rips.
Well, that's interesting.
We met him and his guitar tech at a thing we were doing, and I'm going to tell you what. He picked up a guitar and just started noodling, and he played for like an hour, 2 hours, and I was just like in awe of this guy. So good. And I didn't even know who he was. I actually didn't know that. And I was like, but then they started talking, and they're like, yeah, we're supposed to be in Spain right now, but it got canceled because of COVID. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, this is what we do. And I was like, whoa, holy crap. Dude could play.
Interesting.
Oh, all man, right. He could play.
All right, so ideal guitar rig.
Yeah, so now that we know all this music that you're all into, and I'm super stoked about it. It's really cool. Obviously, and I know there's a few people on here that have done it, have picked their gear based on the music that they like. Or, like, I know Jeff McRickard, I knew he was an Angels and Airwaves fan, and I know that he has picked his guitars and his stuff because he likes a particular kind of sound. So, what is your ideal guitar rig? And I'm going to tell you mine because I just want to know building blocks. I want to understand what people are into. This is more, honestly, this was not going to be like some controversial thing in the thumbnail. This literally was just going to be
Well, there's no one right answer anyway.
right.
Yeah.
And this was just going to be a conversation between all of us in the community, because it helps me to understand. Like, I didn't know you guys were into all this cool music. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Which means we should talk about it more,
A
because
segue from last week to this week.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun. Like, now let's bring it to the gear side, because we do gear stuff. So what are you like, what leads you to choose the instruments and the pedals and the amps and stuff? Why do you make those choices? Get in the comments and talk about that, because I want to understand, and I've been thinking a lot about this. What inspires people to make the gear choice? And you can say, if you want, I heard about it in a Facebook group and I wanted to try it. Because a lot of times we hear something from somebody else and be like, oh, that's a cool pedal idea. I'm going to go get one and see if I like it. But most of the time, it's because we're genuinely inspired by something, by some kind of music, by some kind of something. For me, it's Joan Jett. And that kind of music. That's why I play a small wattage amp with just an overdrive pedal and a P90 guitar, single P90 guitar. And it's taken me all my life to finally get that combination of gear, because I just love punk rock, man. Like, I just love punk rock. I love the raw, basic, super basic punk rock stuff. So when we're talking about pickups and amps earlier, that question came up earlier about pickups and amps. There are certain combinations that work better than others together. So if you think of like Italian and AC15 or Italian and AC30, but it can be a little bright. So do you even want to choose that guitar to go with that amp? It's helpful to make those choices as a team, if that makes sense. Like, zoom out and think of your rig like holistically, not just, I want this particular set of pickups because I want this sound. I want this pedal because I want this sound. Well, that pedal might have a mid bump in it, and then you play it with a Fender amp and it has a mid scoop, and then it kind of flattens out and it doesn't do the thing that you want it to do. Or you might have an overdrive pedal that is known for being a little top endy, and then you put that with an AC30 and it like rips your face off. Like, so kind of backing up and zooming out and looking at your whole rig and what inspires you, like, and not honestly not picking the gear first, but almost picking the vision and the sound in your head. And I know that sounds stupid, because isn't that what all of this is? We're all chasing some tone. But I'm not necessarily chasing a tone. I'm trying stuff. But when you want to think about it like more holistically like that, I just think not enough people do that. And that takes us, again, kind of a segue from last week, like not being so nerdy about the gear itself, but zooming out and being like, okay, what do I want my whole package to look like? You know, what do I want this to look like? So for me, it's a Marshall and a P90, and that's it, and a cable. That's all I care about. The only reason I use an overdrive pedal is because I can't play my amp wide open. Like, if I wouldn't even use an overdrive pedal, I would just use the amp. But I can't because motorhome life, you know.
So you should scroll through here. You
Yeah.
asked them to comment, and you should
Let's
go
do it.
backwards and go backwards. Start from the bottom, because it's going to be confusing otherwise.
Okay. The sound I want in my head: super stereo separation. 2 amps. You really like Mesa rectifiers because they sound huge. but they're too pricey. I think you're going to see some options
You can't keep going down.
for Mesa stuff that's going to get cheaper. That
I
would
like
be
that.
my guess.
Finding the sound that's in your head. That's probably always chasing the ideal rig, right?
It kind of is, yeah. Yep. I got a Telly because I loved Brad Paisley's tone, a Strat because I wanted to dabble in surf, and a 335 because of the vintage feel.
That's
plus
cool.
seeing others play them. See, this is cool. I just bought a Les Paul Jr. because I saw it on your channel. And Guitaristas, it happened because the specific guitar felt like it was made for me.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, man. If you're not comfortable with the guitar, don't push it. That's why I don't play a Les Paul. I don't own one, and I have a desire to own one, but I bet if I bought one, I wouldn't play it that much. So that's why I haven't bought it.
It's one of those collector things.
Yeah, I want to have one to have one.
Yeah.
But I don't want to have one for the purpose of playing it all the time because it's just, I don't bond with it. I don't know if it's the balance of it. I don't know if it's the whatever, but I can't tell. I don't know exactly. Maybe I just haven't spent enough time with one.
He also used to not like Tellys, and he really likes Tellys now.
This is true. I used to be a die-hard only Strat guy.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Dastardly Dave was in a punk band.
Keep going. I already had that one saved.
Okay. What do we got here? Hot Rod Deluxe. I see a few people with wet dry setups, which is very, very interesting. Tom DeLonge, the weirdo. I'm a neck pickup silky smooth junkie. But the bridge has to get to Deftones. Oh, Mr. Goat, that's really cool. So I think he was the one that was asking about this earlier. So, honestly, an 8-ball and a smoothie might do it for you. If that's specifically what you're looking for. That's really cool. Yeah, this is really cool. My first rig was about what both my grandpas played. Dude, that's so cool.
That makes sense. You have to start somewhere.
Uh-huh. No, this is great. I love this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I see some John Mayer stuff. It makes perfect sense. That's what's up. You don't buy a gun without thinking about the bullets. You have to have the right tires for your car, etc., etc. Yeah, I think, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, is because it's a different, I feel like I am in the minority a lot of times, because I think a lot of people dismiss
we missed
me.
Max Mustard Man. Thanks for the
That is
super
an
chat.
amazing name. Would you consider doing a video on how to install a Floyd Rose on a vintage trem guitar? What measurements have to be done and what tools, etc.? That would be a difficult one because I don't know enough to be able to, at this point, right now, as you asked me that question, to do that. I do have some Floyd Rose aspirations as far as plans. And I kind of want to build a Floyd Rose project. But I don't know how it's going to come about. I really want to call Adam Reaver and say, can we do a project together on YouTube? And even if he makes me buy the stuff, I think I still want to do it. So from FU Tone. And it's not a Floyd. He's like, Dylan, it's not a Floyd Rose. You have to learn the term double action tremolo.
Yep.
Adam Reaver from FU Tone was giving me a hard time about that at NAMM. Say double action tremolo.
Anyway. We
Anyway.
have more questions.
Yeah,
let's do it. Are you still talking about ideal rigs?
No, let's do it because it's all kind of working together.
Okay.
This is great.
Lonesome Dove wants to know, do you make your own pickup winders?
I do not. I use a Mojo tone winder and it is amazing.
So it changes the order every time you do something. Mr. Goat says, "What is your dream bike?"
Motorcycle?
Not related. Yes. I don't know. It just says bike.
Um,
I would assume motorcycle.
yeah, I mean, I could go into mountain bikes, road bikes,
Yeah.
triathlon
He
bikes.
likes them all.
Yes. Because I was for a very long time a pretty diehard cyclist as well. That's why I can wear these short shorts. uh,
Is that why?
it is
Really?
why. It is why.
Mm.
Motorcycle. Well, so here's the thing about a motorcycle. If you're really a motorbike guy, it's just like a guitar guy. You can't just have one because you have to have a Strat, a Tele, a Les Paul, an SG, and a 335, and then you have to have a slope shoulder, a dreadnought. You know what I mean? So you have to have like 7 guitars. Ideally, every motorbike guy really, I think, needs 5 motorcycles. So that's a really hard thing. But if I was to just have one, because that's what I'm looking for right now, I think right now, if I could buy anything that's on the market today, I would lean towards. My brother just bought one of those Yamaha Tonal 700s or a KTM, and he loves it, or a KTM Adventure 790. I really like adventure touring bikes. I've spent a lot of time on adventure touring bikes and I enjoy them. So I probably would go that direction right now. A dream motorcycle for me is an MV Agusta F4, but that would be something that I would like put on the wall. I wouldn't ride it because they're ridiculous to ride. They're sore wrists in 40 miles. And there's a lot of vintage motorcycles that I would love to own. I'd really like a Mike Halewood Super Sport. I would love anything Ducati. I'd like a Scrambler for running around town would be awesome. There's a BMW or two that I'd like to own. Dude, don't even get me started on motorcycles. You think I like guitars? You have no idea. I like guitars like this much in comparison to how much I love motorcycles. I love motorcycles. Yeah, love them. Don't even.
Charles Wallace said, "I have 3 guitars. Telling my wife you said I need 4 more. Thanks for having my back."
He does need 4 more.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so are we ready to get to Benjamin Guitar's question now
Yes, let's do
about
it.
do you think certain guitar and pickups sound better with certain amps? How would you wire one differently for a Fender versus a Marshall, if so?
Okay, so this is why I want to talk about this. I don't really think it much has to do with the actual pickups. Again, zoom out and look at the whole rig. So, I'm actually really a Fender amp guy. I really want a Princeton. And I would use a Fender Princeton as like a baseline test tone for every pickup. Because I think any pickup could sound good into a Princeton. Any pickup. Where it matters as far as pickup versus amp is how clean you want to be, how hard you want to hit the front of the amp. So for example, a Princeton or a Blues Junior or a Champ with a very hot pickup will never really be clean because it's such a low wattage amp that you'll end up hitting the threshold of that thing almost every time you play it, and your sound will always be kind of brown. It'll always break up just a little bit. So anything 5 watt, 13 watt, 20 watt is always going to be a little broken up with a really hot pickup. That's the beauty of it though. So I have this 20 watt Marshall right now with EL84s and that P90. And a P90 is hotter than a PAF. And so that gives me that never clean, kind of crunchy punk rock sound that I want, even with that setup. it's awesome. But if you want to be really clean, then you need to go with a higher wattage amp and a lower output pickup to stay clean. So I think, again, this is zooming out and understanding what you want to do with your rig. And it's not necessarily so much the frequency response of this stuff, because I think that more so comes down to personal taste, because some people will play a Telly into an AC30 and love it. I don't. I think it's too bright and jangly and dumb. Like, I like a little bit I like a little bit different sound. Like a Telly into any Fender amp to me is the bomb. I don't necessarily like a Telly into a Marshall, but see, that's all personal taste, because somebody else would do something different. The practical side of it is how hot the pickups are, how much voltage, because remember, you're just making electricity with a pickup. The more electricity you're making with a pickup, the harder it's going to hit the front end of the amp, and that's going to cascade then into the rest of your signal chain. So, well, let me back up. So your pickups are making electricity. The more they make and where they make it, mid-range, lows, highs, whatever. But overall, for the simplicity of this conversation, the more electricity they make, the harder they're going to hit the front end of whatever your first thing is. So whether that's a boost pedal, an overdrive pedal, or a distortion pedal, or a tone bender, or a fuzz, or whatever. And then that cascades on into your preamp of your amplifier, and then into the power amp of your amplifier. And so remember that every time you put something in front of the amp, you're making a little more, you're making a little more, you're making a little more. And as you do that, and with active circuits and pedals, you might be cutting out some frequencies, you might be putting some more in, but there's always going to be a threshold of what that amp can do. And is whatever it's doing what you want it to do? Oh man, I really want some clean tones out of this. Well, if you put all that stuff in front of it and you make a bunch of electricity with these pickups, you're never going to get clean over there. So it all kind of cascades and works together. That's why you have to kind of zoom out. I'm a huge fan of low output pickups. None of what we make is over like 12K. Oh, except for Quattros. Those are super hot. But the rest of the stuff is pretty low output stuff. Our most popular pickups, none of them are over 10. I've even brought the overall output of our center punches down. It used to be closer to 11, and now it's under 10. It's like 9.8. Bringing all of the output down of all of our pickups gives us a wider dynamic range to work with. It also gives us, it gives you more flexibility in front of the amp to do more things with it. So instead of having a one-dimensional pickup that does this, and then you have to have a pickup that does this and does this, now I can do all of it. So it's a long answer, but it's not an easy one. It's not an easy answer because everybody wants something different. Yeah, that was a really good question, and that's why I wanted to save it for now, because it's more of a thought process and an approach than it is an answer to a question. That's why I wanted to put it out there like that, so that when you're choosing your next thing, you're putting kind of a mindset to it, more than like, well, if I need this, then I just buy this. You know what I mean? Yeah, cool.
Mark D says, do you rebuild pickups that are super hard to find for customers?
I do not. Excuse me. I do, but I don't anymore. I have done it a lot. Because we travel, it's hard to send me stuff and get it back in a timely fashion. So, because you almost have to next day air me stuff because we move so much. So it's not cost effective.
We have talked about doing it in a window of time, perhaps.
We have. So sometimes
we'll let you know when or if that happens.
Yes. So sometimes, like we'll be in Augusta, Georgia for a couple of months, probably later this year. And during that time, I'll make a video and I'll be like, hey, if you want some stuff, we'll do it while we're there. If you want something done, though, and you want it done, like you don't want to wait, John Gorentz at Odessa Pickup Labs, you can find him on Facebook. He's in Kansas.
Super cool, dude.
Super cool dude. And I really trust what he does. He does a very good job, very high quality stuff, and he does some super wacky stuff. If you have uh, like a vintage PAF, like some crazy Gibson, especially Gibson stuff, then get in touch with Zach at Brandon Wound Pickups, and he will probably help you. He's been helping me with some stuff, and Zach has been very helpful. And Zach's expertise is the vintage Gibson stuff. If you want, like old T-tops, old stuff like that. So I would call Zach for Gibson stuff. For any other kind of stuff like weird old Dan Electro things or whatever, John Gorence is your man. He will literally like remake the paper bobbins and all that. He's really good at all that. Yeah.
Awesome. Dino Smith. Dino? I don't know. I have a 1966 Gibson SG with a weak bridge pickup. Any troubleshooting tips?
Yeah, I would just ohm it out and see if what the output is like. You might have lost some of it, or maybe lost a coil that's not working right. If you have a physical problem with that pickup, honestly, Zach at Brandon One will be your guy for that.
Thomas Duffy, what's the difference between your P90 and a framing P90? And he also said, what's the difference between your P90 and a Fralin P90? Which is maybe what he meant the first time, because I don't know what framing means.
Yeah, I think
Fralin P90, and how much is your P90?
I know that our P90 has a better top end. Just because that's what we do. That's like my thing. I don't mean better. It just has more top end. It's sparklier on the top. And it's really good. Fralin stuff is good, but it's it just doesn't have that top end sparkle that I like, and so I kind of go extra for that. And they are available on our website in Soap Bar and in Dog Ear for I think $109. I think they're $109.
DylanTalksTown.com.
That's right.
New Gun Guy says, your thoughts on dummy coils?
I have just recently started playing with that, and I don't yet have an opinion. I have just recently, actually just wound my first one like a month ago, but I haven't done enough testing with it to tell you whether it's a road that I want to go down further. I don't know. That falls under the, I will say for sure they're not as bad as any noiseless stuff. The one note for dummy coils is that you can't have a reverse wound, reverse polarity setup. You have to have all the pickups wound the same direction for it to work right. Yeah, I'm still playing. The jury's still out.
Benjamin's Guitars says, have you ever made one of those big old school Charlie Christian pickups? Would you make one?
I saw him ask that in some comment thread the other day, and I couldn't find it again to answer it.
Well, he's asked twice tonight. He also worded it, you ever dabble with those big old school Charlie Christian pickups? I like the word dabble.
I haven't. I don't know enough about them. That's why I've never done a video on them. I want to get one and take it apart and really see what's in there. That's why we've never done one of those like comparison videos, like where I show you all the parts and stuff. It's why we've never done one, because there are a lot of fake ones and there's a lot of like modern versions of them, but I would want to do it like properly. The trick with those is the tooling. because they do have this weird, what he's talking about is this weird big magnet thing on the bottom and it goes underneath the whole pickguard. Like it's a weird deal. And I really don't think.
Somebody lost their dog?
Or a fan belt.
Okay.
It sounded like one of those whistly firecrackers, but then it sounded like a fan belt. Or is that somebody whistling for a dog?
Whistling.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I didn't know you could hear so many things in a whistle.
That's how my mom used to call us when we were kids.
That's why, I mean, I've not seen any kids, so I was just assuming that their dog wandered off or something.
Man, if we heard that whistle and we weren't running back, like we could be anywhere in the neighborhood, like hanging out with kids or whatever, but she would do that thing where she like put her 2 fingers underneath her tongue like that and she'd whistle super loud. And if you weren't home in 5 or 10 minutes, 10 was pushing it, 5 minutes, you got in trouble. But you could hear that thing from all over the whole neighborhood. Anyway.
All right, so I want to back up. This is an interesting question because if you watched Texas Toast videos earlier, I know they were kind of diving, taking a step back and maybe defining some things you talk about that people take for granted. I probably don't know a lot of these things either. So Chad McGuigan, I could be saying that wrong, says, what are dummy coils?
Oh. So, a dummy coil is, so let's say you have a Stratocaster and you have 3 single coils in it, right? And they all make a little noise because they pick up radio frequency interference. So then you have a humbucker in like a Les Paul. And what a humbucker does is it takes 2 coils, they're out of phase with each other, and it cancels, they're electrically out of phase with each other so that it cancels that noise. That's the simple way. So what a dummy coil is it's sort of like it's.
Maybe it is fireworks.
I hope it's fireworks.
Either that or we're like under siege, y'all.
We're gonna have to be calling a new gun guy and get him over here. So a dummy coil is. So the thing about a humbucker is both of those coils can be heard or felt by the string. So that's why it sounds like a humbucker. So a way to get hum canceling with a single coil is to take another coil, but don't put magnets in it, and you just use the coil part of it, and you just wire it in with the guitar, and you stuff it underneath the pickguard. So it uses the hum canceling part of what a humbucker does, but it doesn't have the magnets of a humbucker, so it still sounds like a single coil. That's what a dummy coil is. The problem is that when you use 2 coils together for hum canceling, it's not super precise, so it can cancel out some of the sounds you want and kind of throw them out with the sounds that you do want. So you kind of have to design it right so that it works right. And there's some people that have done a very good job of it, and I've never messed with it, so it's been something that I want to do lately.
So first of all, I said his name right. He said, congratulations, that never happened. New gun guy said he'll be there with the Derringer. And somebody else said somebody's probably just sighting in a scope. And the whistling, I even thought it was where he was at. So apparently it came through the mics enough for him to think it was where he was at.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, very interesting sounds happening all around.
Yes.
So 2, 3. Okay. Doug Santignano says, I need to pick Dylan's brain on the pickups for the class to put in the build class. I want something different. So can't wait to hear what he dreams of.
What are you building? If you could get in the comments and tell us what you're building, that would be cool. Because I would also like to use that to maybe inspire some other people to get involved with it. And I think we're going to do a thing.
So is he coming to the class and the build?
Okay. Yeah. I also think I never do sales, but I think there might be a thing associated with that where if you aren't in the class, I'm going to hook you up so you can at least still use our pickups. Because I want people to all be included. Like everybody's putting cool pickups in their guitar at the end of the week. Like I want everybody to use my stuff. But I mean, I want them all to have cool stuff, you know, and not just throw some Seymour Duncans in there or whatever. Oh, that sounds very much like a firearm.
Mm-hmm. A really close one.
A really close firearm. Yeah. One question I wanted to ask you, if you could put it in the comments if you think this is cool. Because Leslie doesn't see my vision on this quite yet. I'm thinking about taking these lives and sort of doing like what other podcasters do and putting out clips. Like, you know, we answer a question and it's like brief and it's like 3 or 4 minutes, but we put these clips out maybe
I'm sorry.
the other days of the week that we don't have videos. So like on the random days where there's not an actual video, we would put out a couple of clips that were 3 to 4 minutes long that were synopsises of. Yeah, that is
I don't know if we should be concerned.
mildly concerning. That is weird.
I hope you're not like gonna get some kind of unfortunate live stream.
Yeah.
Um,
Hopefully they don't like demonetize me or something because there's gunshots in here.
Don't talk about them then. All right, let's squeeze in your questions so we can see what the heck's going on.
I ain't going out there.
Oh.
Heck no. What else we got?
Ben Burzak says, I'm designing a guitar right now and wondering if you had to go with a humbucker in the bridge, single coil in the neck, what pickups would you go with?
Single coil in the neck, humbucker in the bridge. Probably just one of our Hot 5 Strats in the neck. You know, your output doesn't have to be that close. I think that's a misconception, I think. You could probably just put a regular single coil in the neck, like one of our Strat pickups, and then put a DAF in the bridge, and it would probably be awesome. The output numbers don't matter, really. I mean, it's all about frequency response, right? So, and you're going to get more mid-range as you go this way, and it's going to sound lower output anyways as you go more towards the bridge. So yeah, it'll probably be fine equalizing that. I think you'll not have any issues. I would say a Hot 5 Strat pickup from us and a DAF in the bridge, or a center punch in the bridge would be cool, because then when you coil split it, then you have 2 single coils. That'd be awesome.
All right. Wait, Oh, Mr. Goat says, my soloing telly is going to have a smoothie in the bridge and the stock telly neck. Do you do individual telly neck pickups? Are they dreamy?
Oh, dude, you need one. And yes, we do individual Nelly tech pickups, telly neck pickups. Yes, and you need one, because if you're going to put a smoothie in the bridge, then your stock neck pickup is going to sound muddy and flat comparatively. So yes, I will make you a neck pickup, and it will be awesome. That will be such a cool setup. I love that. They actually made a telly like that for a while, and that was pretty cool. Nobody bought it, but it's really cool.
Henry Velasquez says, Dylan, what do you think about the Vega Trim VST1 tremolo?
I was actually looking at those in person about a month ago, and I think they're very cool. I don't have an opinion on them like, oh, I think you should go get one. But if you're interested in it and you find them interesting, then get one, because they are very high quality and they're cool. Yeah, I mean, do it. I'm not going to like swap out a Strat tremolo for one, but I think they are cool. Yeah, for sure.
Ryan Elias says, Dylan, can you make a Jaguar single coil or teach it in the Texas Toast class?
I could do either one of those things because
Either or both.
yeah, no problem.
I
Absolutely.
mean, he signed up already.
I hope so. That'd be
You
awesome.
signed up, Ryan. All right. Doug says, I believe it will be the modern, I don't know.
Oh.
Double cutaway. Matt is saving the body for me.
Oh. Okay. Double cutaway. Yeah. So is it going to have humbuckers in it? Is it routed already? Because if it's going to have humbuckers in it, yeah, we could definitely do some cool stuff. I'm going to bring some to the class. I might bring some materials that are going to be like class exclusive. I'm thinking about, and I haven't told you this, but I'm thinking about ordering.
He said he signed up, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm thinking about ordering some stuff, like I do those cool inserts in humbuckers, like where we do like metal meshes and stainless and carbon fiber and all this cool stuff. I'm thinking about ordering ahead of time
some choices.
Yeah, a handful of crazy materials, because I know that everybody's going to be making these super custom one-off personal looking guitars, and like if they had a way to make that stuff
stand out a little more.
Yeah, and make it like custom for their own selves. Like if you're going to do a P90, don't just do a plastic P90 cover. Like we could do the surround, and then we could have the insert. Wouldn't have to, there's things you'd have to do to make it work. But I want to do those things. Hopefully that make people feel, not make people feel special. That doesn't. I want them to really feel special about their guitars, like that and what they're doing. And it's really a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of people. So. I don't want to take that for granted. I want them to feel like this is the coolest thing ever. So I'm thinking about doing that, and maybe some different color flat work. Now that I have a guy that can make whatever I want, like, because I do now. So I've been exploring a bunch of interesting pickup ideas, because I've met some people recently that are helping. They would be able to help me execute some non-standard stuff, so I'm kind of I have some ideas.
So it's an hour and a half. We have 2 more questions.
Okay.
And I think we should call it at that.
Okay.
So I already have the questions grabbed.
Cool.
I still want to say wussy. So Wayne Hussey.
Yeah.
You know who that is.
Yeah.
Triple coil humbuckers, like on the China-made Fender Marauder. What were they all about?
I don't know. I ordered the stuff to make those, and then I think I ended up getting the wrong stuff. And so, yeah, I was going to actually put them in that orange telly, but it ended up not working. And so I'm thinking about re-looking at that and making something cool. I really want to try a triple humbucker. I think it'd be cool. I don't know how practical it is, but nobody's really making them. What if I made them? It'd be cool, I just haven't gotten to it.
Windsurf Maui. What are the pluses and minuses of a single coil with non-magnetized pole pieces and a bar magnet on the base?
So typically that is a cost-cutting measure, because they use steel slugs with no magnetism. So we're talking about sort of like a Squire pickup, sort of, or an older Mexican telly pickup. I'll just give you an example. If you go on Amazon right now and you order, if you order 6 pull magnets for a Strat, they're going to cost you 89 cents each. Okay, times 6. If you order steel slugs on Amazon, they're going to be like 15 cents a piece. And then the ceramic magnet that goes underneath it is going to be 79 cents or $1.10. So putting a ceramic magnet underneath metal slugs is half the cost. Probably, and then at scale, like Fender doing it, is way cheaper. And what they do is they put a stronger magnet at the bottom of the steel slugs to give you a similar but not really Gauss reading as Alnico pickups, but it's not the same because it's more intense at the bottom of the magnet than it is, or the bottom of the steel pole than it is at the top. And that's not the same as having the same intensity all the way through the coil. It changes the inductance. So they don't sound the same. They are not the same. It is a cost-cutting measure. But some people do like them. So if you like them, use them. You know, if you have some in a drawer, like a lot of people do, and you like them, then use them for sure. Cool.
So Doug had an additional thought, and he said, well, we'll be able to do rail pickups.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be able to do rail pickups in black and white.
And Benjamin Guitar said, I was going to ask about rail size dimebuckers.
I have those. They are few and far between because the parts are constantly on back order. But you can order them. I actually have the parts in stock for one right now. And I can do more in a couple of weeks. So our Quattros are rail pickups. If you want a custom wound rail pickup that is not the Quattro, if you want it to be more conventional and not super stupid hot, just order one of those, put in the notes what you want, and shoot me an email, and I'll make it the way you want it. And we may come out with another one. I don't know. That might be a good idea because I have had people ask about it. So, yeah, man.
Cool.
You guys, this has been super fun. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Through all of the crazy noises.
Also, we have a video coming out tomorrow, which is what I'm going to work on as soon as we get done here. I'm going to start editing. And we have a video coming out tomorrow. It's really cool. On Monday, we have the tuner shootout. The clip-on tuner shootout comes out Monday.
But you could watch it now if you were on Patreon and join the live class on Sunday.
That's right. She sells me better than I do.
Not really. I just feel a little guilty because it's my fault that he has 5 on the 5th Sunday one. So the more of you that are there, the more fun that he has, and the less guilty I
definitely
feel. It's really selfish. Just saying.
It is more fun the more people show up.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out. And I guess we'll see you tomorrow when the Friday video premieres.
Thanks, y'all.